pissed. And I'm about to discuss why. Hit that intro, gang. Welcome to the Who Dat Weekly Gang, featuring the Dirty Devils' finest, Christopher J. Spies. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to the show. And usually I would do lately I haven't been doing it, but beforehand, usually I would be doing like a pregame thing where I would talk about what I'm expecting for the Saints usually, but the Saints have been so bad lately, it's just been kind of boring to talk about, to be honest with y'all. I'll talk about certain things that around the Saints, but today is different because this involves my personal favorite college team, the Ole Miss Rebels, and I feel like I had to talk about it. Where do I even begin? Let's start from the beginning. So, in the beginning, I've been hearing about Lane Kiffin rumors left and right, and I've been so used to that for so long. Like being an Ole Miss fan ever since he got here, it's been this school, he's going to this school, he's going to that school. It was all over the place, and it just started to become so unbelievable that it's like, yeah, sure, I'll believe it when I see it. And as the rumors started to escalate as the season was wrapping up, and certain coaches were being fired. And to catch everybody up with what's going on, LSU fired their coach. They fired Brian Kelly. Florida fired Billy Napier. Penn State fired Frank something. I forget his name. James Franklin. There we go. And I think those were the three biggest ones that on the top of my head. But still, you heard all these coaching firings. It's like, okay, brace yourself because this is about to happen all over again. And I had made an episode about a month ago, I think, saying that Ole Miss has absolutely nothing to worry about. This is just the usual. Lane goes to XYZ school, and we should be good. We should be totally fine. Because, we've been through so many coaching rumors in the last 6 years as Lane Kiffin has been our head coach. The biggest one so far, the biggest one prior to today was Auburn almost hiring Lane Kiffin, but Lane Kiffin turned them down. And today, I think that was still his best decision up until today. And sure enough, LSU really charged at Lane Kiffin, and they actually got him. Lane Kiffin is headed to LSU. And I'm pissed for a reason. Let me tell you, man, I'm pissed for a reason because Lane Kiffin lied to us. He straight up lied to us. He told us he was happy at Oxford, Mississippi. He told us that he was happy to be the Ole Miss head coach. He was happy with the team that he had. He finally felt like he had changed. He finally did. And he felt that way. It felt very genuine, and it really felt he was genuine about it after we saw the mini documentary that ESPN made about a month or two ago. I forget how long it's been, but it really felt like he was really satisfied at being at Ole Miss, bringing Ole Miss to new heights that it's never reached before, and building his own legacy. Well, that's all been thrown out the window now. And now I just see him as a two-faced, stone-cold liar. A man who just has not changed whatsoever. The man has not changed. It's like, how do you uproot yourself from a playoff team that's about to compete in, I think, 2 weeks from now? Maybe 3 weeks. I forget when the playoffs start. But the playoffs are just around the corner. We just beat Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl to solidify our spot in the playoffs. We are now guaranteed a playoff spot. And you just decide, I don't want to be here no more. I'm just go ahead and leave for LSU, who, by the way, is garbage. Garbage. And last I checked, LSU is going through hell themselves. They just, like I just said, they fired Brian Kelly, but there's more to that. They also fired, their athletic director resigned because of pressure from our state government, the Louisiana state government. The governor himself got involved, and he basically resigned. And they hired an interim athletic director. I don't know if they made him permanent or not. I don't think he's permanent as last time I checked, but still. And then on top of that, they had to deal with the whole Brian Kelly buyout situation. Like, LSU owed him $54 million. They were reluctant to do that, and they eventually had to do it because it was apparently written in Brian Kelly's contract that he was owed that money regardless of his firing or not. Not regardless. He was guaranteed the money if he was to be terminated from his position as the head coach of LSU. So, yeah. And it's pitiful. It's pitiful. I just don't understand, one, how does LSU have the money for this? I know they're technically, quote-unquote, richer than Ole Miss, but how do you have the money to make the same mistake? How much money can you afford to make back-to-back bad hires? I say Lane Kiffin's a bad hire for a reason, because look what he just made Ole Miss go through. Look what he just made us go through. Drama, left and right. Indecisive stupidity, left and right. Oh my God, this dude drove me up the wall. It's could you please make a decision if you're staying or not? And he chose he wasn't going to stay. And I'm about to talk about how that impacts Ole Miss in a great way, because he really had us fooled. He really had us fooled. We really thought he was a changed man. But for LSU's sake, I don't see why you would hire him. He's not won championships. He hasn't gotten close to the playoffs. I'm about to talk about that in a second, but he finally reaches the playoffs. And he doesn't want to coach in the playoffs. Well, he does want to coach, from what I hear. He wants to coach this team to the playoffs, and then he leaves. But that's a whole subject. I'll get into that in a minute. But the point is, you're leaving a playoff team. You're leaving a playoff team. Why on God's green earth would you just decide, I don't want to be here no more. I'm going to go to LSU down in the bayou. That doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't. And LSU fans will probably say, we have more money than y'all. We can get better recruits than y'all. He can do that after he gets Ole Miss to where it needs to be. I just do not understand this thought process. Lane Kiffin, I know he's probably not watching this, but I know he watches other Ole Miss content creators and podcasters and whatnot. And I know he's been listening to them because it's shown. Because right after the Egg Bowl, he confronted Ben Garrett, one of the Ole Miss podcasters / reporters on YouTube. He runs the Ole Miss Spirit. Shout out to him, by the way. And before the Egg Bowl happened, he had called him. He claims he didn't call him, but I think at this point he did call him. At this point, he called him a hoe. He called him a hoe, and honestly, Lane Kiffin just proved him right. He is a hoe. He really is a hoe. Seriously, to quote Ben Garrett, he said, "You can't change a hoe into a housewife." He just described Lane Kiffin for who he is. And he's right. He really is right. He would not commit to Ole Miss no matter how much the Ole Miss media would pressure him to asking what his decision is on if he's going to stay at Ole Miss or not. He would not make a decision. And look, some of it I get from Lane Kiffin's perspective, he's trying to keep the players focused, which so far has been a good job. Ole Miss finished with the best regular season finish they have had in program history, 11-1. You can't get any better than that. But at the same time, you have to just give us an honest answer. Why are you prolonging this? And that's exactly what just happened. He just prolonged it for just far too long, man. He just prolonged it for far too long. It's unacceptable. It's just absolutely unacceptable. It's not only a slap to the face for us Ole Miss fans, but it should be a reality check for LSU. Like, it should be a reality check for LSU fans. Because, like, you just saw how all this went down from him transitioning from one team to the next. I guarantee he's gonna do the same thing to LSU, but that's later down the road. I'm not gonna worry about that for a while. Like, I don't understand this thought process by Lane Kiffin. This is significantly worse than the whole Lane to Auburn rumors that happened back in 2022. This is significantly worse. And this time, we actually lost the coach. Whereas beforehand, we retained the coach because he saw how bad Auburn was. This time, he leaves for an even worse team. And LSU fans are going to be upset when I say this. Like, you are a terrible team. There's no sugarcoating that. You are a bad team in a seriously bad situation. If I am Lane Kiffin, I saw that the state's own government is controlling what the hell happens at LSU, especially in this sports department. What the hell would I go down there? Seriously, man. I don't care how many good recruits y'all get. I don't care how good LSU has been in the past. Times are different, and LSU has failed to adapt to that. That's the reality for LSU right here and right now. That is the reality. LSU has failed to accomplish in the NIL era. They like anything prior to 2019. Yeah, y'all been good, but it was a different era. We're now in the NIL era, in the transfer portal era, where those two in particular have changed college sports for the either the better or for the worse. It depends on how you look at it, and Ole Miss adapted very well. Now, a good amount of credit goes to Lane Kiffin for doing that, but I just don't get it, man. Like, Lane Kiffin, I think, made the second biggest mistake of his coaching career. And I seriously wholeheartedly believe that. I have never seen a head coach uproot himself right before the college football playoffs to go coach another team. And now he's causing trouble left and right. Like, last I heard, he is trying to convince the athletic director at Ole Miss to allow him to continue to coach for the team in the playoffs. I'm sorry. You lost that privilege after giving us all this BS. You absolutely have. I don't see a reason why you should. And last I heard, the players themselves are getting fed up with this. Now, some of them are trying to be loyal to Lane Kiffin, which you expect. Some players are just going to be like that. I mean, once a coach leaves, those players usually leave for wherever the coach is going. For example, when Oklahoma had Lincoln Riley, and Lincoln Riley went to USC, a lot of those players went with him to USC. And when Nick Saban retired, all the players that were going to Alabama because of Nick Saban decided they don't want to be there no more. So this decision by Lane Kiffin is catastrophic to Ole Miss because we're likely going to be losing a chunk of our players. But that's something we'll deal with later. The problem here is he wants to coach this team in the playoffs, but he does not deserve it. He does not deserve it. I know he's worked hard, but for you to just basically tell Ole Miss you're not worthy enough for me just tells me he's acting like he's bigger than Ole Miss when he really isn't. If it wasn't for Ole Miss hiring him in the first place, he'd still be at FAU to this day. He might still be an assistant coach for, I don't know, maybe an NFL team maybe, or another college football team. I don't know. But I guarantee if it wasn't Ole Miss for taking him in, his career would have been dead in the dirt. It would have been stuck in the swamp. It would be going nowhere. I hope, and I think a lot of people can agree with that. It was because of Ole Miss for giving him another shot to be an SEC head coach. It's because of just that fact alone is why he's now considered one of the best coaches out there. So, it's pitiful, man. It's pitiful. And then he decides he's just going to wreck his image all over again, and just repeat the same stupid, dumbass mistake that he made with Tennessee. And man, oh man, like, any Tennessee fans watching this, can you give us some golf balls and mustard bottles? We're going to need them for next year. Seriously, man. I don't understand. I just don't get it. Like, I have never seen a coach just straight up quit on his playoff team. In fact, he's not the only one that has just possibly quit. He's not the only possible playoff contending coach to do that. Tulane's coach just did the same thing. And while the jury's still out for if Tulane will actually still make it, that's a separate story. It's still, like, this is just terrible timing. Now, part of it I do understand is that these bad decisions are coming around because of how the college football schedule is how the schedule is. So, like, I saw that the transfer portal usually happens right as the season ends. We got to move that. We got to make some changes in that department. We have, like, the college football committee, I don't know if they have any jurisdiction over that, or if that's something with the NCAA. What's up, Jerry? How you doing? I'm venting about my college football team for a second, but anyway, so I don't know what changes need to happen, but they got to make those changes because this should never, ever, ever happen again. This should never happen again. This is just unacceptable that any team that fired their coach mid-season or at the end of the season has the right to try and get a coach that's currently either in season or in the playoffs. They need to wait. They need to restructure that schedule. I think a lot of people can agree with that. They need to restructure that schedule to where like teams have to wait till after the playoffs. They need to, like, change the date to the transfer portal to, like, I don't know, summertime, maybe early spring. I don't know. Like, they need to reschedule that because football doesn't play during the springtime. I think that would be the best idea, in my opinion. I don't know what y'all think. If y'all have better ideas, comment below. But something's got to change because this should never happen. This screws potential playoff teams trying to contend for championships games. And this right now is affecting Ole Miss. And I don't know if Ole Miss will actually go as far as go to the championship. That remains to be seen. But to lose your head coach is going to cause significant problems with all playoff seeding. So, and I say that because we saw what the College Football Committee did to Florida State just a few years ago, when Florida State went undefeated, but they lost their quarterback for the rest of the season. I think he injured himself like during their conference championship game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but because of that one little fact alone, caused the College Football Committee to drop them below whoever was in the playoffs that year. And that was the year when there was only 4 teams to go to the playoffs. We now have 12 teams, and part of me thinks that we should be fine. But at the same time, you just don't know. We just don't know. This completely wrecks everything because Lane Kiffin continues to be the indecisive moron that he is. I'm sick of this, man. Like, as the day went on and on yesterday, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and we didn't hear his official announcement until 1 freaking a.m. And yes, Ashton Folden, yes, Ashton, I'm just going to call you Ashton. It was crazy. Like, this should never have happened. This should have been done weeks ago, at best. Or better yet, just wait till after the playoffs, as I just mentioned. This should never have happened. And yet it did. And we blame Lane Kiffin for that because he is so indecisive. I have never seen a 50-year-old man be so damn indecisive. He's hurting his image to this day. He is hurting his image. And if he thinks he has it better at LSU, he's got another thing coming. He has not learned his lesson. I know LSU, quote unquote, is like the better job compared to Ole Miss, even though I don't agree with that personally, but I'm an Ole Miss fan. Of course, I'm not going to agree with that. But I just don't think he's cut out for LSU. LSU fans I've already seen on Facebook and other social media saying if he does not get them to the playoffs or more in the by next season, they're going to start having issues. So is it true that Lane Kiffin going to LSU? Yes, it is true, Jerry. That announcement was basically, as I just mentioned, the announcement was made around 1 a.m. Lane is going to look great in the purple and gold. See you fellas in Oxford. I don't agree with that, but yeah, we will see y'all in Oxford next year. That game will be fun to watch. I'll tell you that much because I would love to upset him right there and then. And that's it's actually kind of funny. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it would be hilarious if this Ole Miss team currently that's going to go to the playoffs goes all the way and wins the national championship without Lane Kiffin. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Do I think that's going to happen? No. I'm realistic. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we'll probably go one and done because we don't have our head coach, and I don't have any faith whatsoever in Joe Judge, who they say will be the interim head coach going forward. And just for a quick recap, and Giants fans will know about Joe Judge because he was their head coach at one point. He stunk with the Giants. That's why I have no faith in Joe Judge. Now, unless he just does better in college football, then great. But I'm not buying that. No. Kidding, going from touching the playoffs and a shot at Nettie to a 3-year rebuild. I know it's crazy, man. It's crazy. We play at Ole Miss and at Tennessee next year. I'm taking the over in booze. You would be a millionaire, and I would be a millionaire too if I took the over in booze. That game's going to be nuts, I think. In fact, it's going to probably be the most important game for Ole Miss next year is upsetting Lane Kiffin and LSU altogether. And while the future is unknown for Ole Miss in terms of like head coaching, I was low-key kind of hoping that we might get Tulane's coach if this were to happen. But Florida already beat us to that, so can't do anything about it. I ain't seen no official announcement that Kiffin's going to LSU. It's all basically all said and done. Like, I've been reading up on all of the SEC networks, inside reporters. I've been watching really the SEC network all day long yesterday. And then I've been following all the Ole Miss reporters. They're all saying the same thing, that Lane Kiffin has intentions to go to LSU. And then last night, a confirmed report that LSU is sending planes to pick up Lane Kiffin and his family sometime on Sunday, although it is Sunday now, and I haven't heard anything about that. So that could be just false news. Who knows? But still, and on top of that, he's supposed to inform the team today. It was supposed to happen at 9 o'clock, but they pushed it back for some bizarre reason. I don't know why, but all I can say is that it's pretty much a done deal. Lane Kiffin is indeed coming to LSU, and me as an Ole Miss fan living in Louisiana, I hate it. I just hate it. And I may hate LSU, but it's I told this to myself that I may hate LSU, but I could at least be respectful to the fact that LSU is definitely a way better job than Florida. I think we can all agree with that. Because part of me laughs that he's going to LSU because just out of Florida fans' sake. Because we've been dealing with Florida fans for at least a month, and they were so absolutely certain that they were getting him. And now I see them all crying and complaining and getting angry that they got John Summerall from Tulane. They think, oh, this is Billy Napier 2.0. Well, I mean, the jury's out for that one. So we'll see about that. Planes were sent from Baton Rouge at 11:30. Lane is expected in Baton Rouge at around 1 and not attending a team meeting from what I've read. Okay, that's news to me. And it is almost 12 o'clock, so this should have probably happened by now. But I don't know, man. I don't know. So, hotty toddy, am I right? It just baffles me that we really lost a head coach that brought us to the playoffs and is not even going to finish out with us. That's what blows my mind. Now, I know he's trying to finish out with us, but the administration at Ole Miss said no, last I heard, and now he's threatening to take all the players and coaches that he brought, which would be so absolutely shitty if I'm being honest. Like, that would be so shitty. That would leave us a guaranteed one and done in the playoffs for certain. I don't even know who we would be playing. I know the current CFP rankings, which will be updated by Tuesday, will have us playing Alabama. But after this weekend, probably not. And I guess we'll find out on Tuesday to really know exactly who we're getting. So, and on top of it, to see how badly this affects us in our playoffs ranking spot. Because I don't know if they'll drop us significantly or they're just going to drop us by 2 spots. If it's just 2 spots, then okay, cool. That won't bother me too much. But I don't know. All in all, this whole thing was a mess. I think everybody can agree with that. Like, and I even talked to some of my LSU loving friends at my church today that, and they all say the same thing. Like, he did this so poorly. And while they're happy that they got him, they all agree that his timing was so bad. His decision making was so bad. In fact, some of them didn't even want Lane Kiffin. That's the wild that they didn't want him. They thought he may not work out because he hasn't exactly proven himself outside of like doing a really hell of a job at Ole Miss. I don't know, man. Like, only time will tell at this point. Only time will tell. But with that being said, thank y'all for tuning in today. This has been a frustrating time for us Ole Miss fans. Like, this is frustrating. And usually on Saints game days, I'm talking about the Saints, and I might live stream during the games. But as many of us Saints fans know, this season has not been good. So there's not much to talk about. Other than speculation, who we're getting in the draft and blah, 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 and all these other things and whatever the case may be. But all in all, like, this has just been rough for us Ole Miss fans, and our worst nightmare came true that Lane Kiffin is actually jumping ship at the wrong time. Good God. LSU fans, I wish y'all good luck. You're going to need it with this coach because he's going to bring all the drama in the world, and it's going to be so aggravating to deal with. Like, he gave us headaches for weeks, and he's about to give y'all headaches for weeks if this happens to y'all. I don't expect it next year, but give it 3 years. That's all I'll say. Anyway, thank y'all for tuning in today. I hope y'all enjoy this video, and what are your thoughts on this whole Lane Kiffin to LSU crap show? Let me know your thoughts below, and if you're a new subscriber, shout out to all my new subscribers, and hope to see y'all soon. And if you are a new subscriber, comment below, comment Go Tigers, I guess, if you want to say that for this channel, and I'll give you a personal shout out in my next video. Yeah, hold on, I got one more comment. Let's see. I feel like it should have been left up to the player vote if they wanted Kiffin to finish the year with them or not. You know, I would actually agree with that because the players should have decided if they wanted Kiffin or not. And I mentioned this earlier ago. Maybe I got lost in my venting. But last I saw in terms of the players, some of them went to the athletic director's office, and I don't know how true this is, but this is some of this was from confirmed Ole Miss reporters that some of the players went to the Ole Miss athletic director and they said that they wanted Kiffin to still coach them in the playoffs. Now, will that happen? I don't know. I doubt it because there's already lots of bad blood now spewing left and right because Kiffin decided he wants to leave but also wants to coach in the playoffs. I'm sorry. You can't coach the playoffs, especially if you're trying to leave and recruit to your new school. That's just unacceptable, especially when you're trying to recruit to your rival school, because LSU is Ole Miss's rival, one of the most hated rivals, and one of the most oldest hated rivals. Whether LSU fans believe it or not, it's actually true. So, anyway, but yeah, I agree. Like, I think the players should have voted on this and determined if he's actually worth the headache of keeping around for like another week, maybe two, depending on how the playoffs go. But if I'm the players, I'm voting no. Like, if I'm the player for Ole Miss, well, if I am any of the players for Ole Miss, I would say no. You're done. You're not loyal to us. Get the hell out. So, anyway, again, thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate you guys checking out my channel. And if you want a personal shout out, like and subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys later. Who dat? Hotty toddy. And good luck, LSU.
KK, you are the savior. We yelling black and gold of the Super Bowl.